I heard someone outside. Sounded like in this white car here, which I think, well, I was going to say, I think that's the white car where somebody was. I just heard a sound again. Somebody was eavesdropping on me outside my room last night. And then I heard them kind of shifting their feet or something. And then it turned out to be a white car. It might be that one that's on the other side of that black truck over there. So there are people that go in the bathroom and listen, or hang out outside my room, or hang out outside this sliding door to use my Wi-Fi that the hacker has made so it's on all the time. So people are constantly stealing data from me I have an unlimited data plan, but all these things interfere with my service. And they interfere with my being able to watch things on all the premium channels I pay for, because other people are logging in and I get logged out if I can even log in to the premium channels I pay for. They've changed my passwords numerous times. And I was locked out of my Netflix for a couple of months because the hacker made it so I wasn't receiving my Gmails since March. He made my emails stop coming to me somehow immediately after I discovered that he changed the email address on my Medicare account and my Social Security account, and discovered that my Medicare billing statements were going to a different address, and my Social Security statements were, with my income statements and my tax documents went somewhere, a different address, and I didn't authorize this. This is a serious crime. But the facility also generally intercepts all mail and packages delivered to patients, opens them, decides what, if anything, to deliver. And I have gifts that have been stolen that were sent to me that I didn't get. And one of them, I got a delivery notification and I immediately went to the lobby. And long story short, I found it the next day locked, or not locked, hidden in the administrator's office behind a chair with a bunch of boxes piled on top of it and around it, and with the label with my name on it turned backwards so that it wasn't facing outward on any side, even when you moved boxes away and up off of it and, moved the chair. And that was this heater right here. She stole and locked in her office. Like right when it arrived, the director of nursing was in the lobby when I got to the lobby, moments after I got the delivery notification, and she told me, oh no, there was no delivery. No, if something had been delivered for you, I would have brought it to you right away. No, nothing came here. They must have delivered it to the wrong address. It must have been a mistake. You better check with the post office tomorrow. Or maybe they delivered it to a neighbor's address by mistake, and maybe they'll bring it over later, she told me. And the administrator's office door was locked. I asked her to unlock it. She claimed she didn't have a key. I don't believe that. If there is a fire in this facility, I'm sure that there is a key to the administrator's office for somebody to be able to get in that office in an emergency. The case manager's office also was locked. The case manager is usually the person. The social worker office is usually the place. I found boxes of hundreds and hundreds of letters. And I'm sure that letters to me from the state of California were in there, but I didn't have the time to look through them all. But I knew that dozens of letters had been sent to me from the state, first class U.S. mail, with case numbers, investigator names, the dates of investigations, my right to be present, my right to speak to investigators, the results at the end of the investigation, investigation findings, corrective actions, fines and penalties, if any, my right to appeal and amend reports and findings. I got none of those letters except for one. One day I was brought a letter, and an hour later the owner and another woman, I think that's an owner that works in the office across the hall from me, a couple doors over, and the janitor that was stealing from me constantly, so I ordered her, she can't step foot in my room. Those three pinned me. They backed me up and pinned me against my bed. I grabbed valuables and was holding them in my arms against my chest. The owner punched me repeatedly. The three of them kept me pinned there while they were grabbing things out of my arms that I had held against my chest, while 7 other employees streamed in and opened my closets and went through all my stuff and opened the drawers on that vanity and the nightstand. And those are all, the closets and the drawers and the nightstand, those are all private areas for the patient's belongings. They have no right to touch anything that belongs to the patient. No right, zero. But they went in and they robbed me. The owner was punching me and robbing me, and the janitor and the other woman that I think is an owner who refused to identify herself, refused to state her name, doesn't wear an ID, but constantly ridicules me. I know she's been in hiding since I recorded her on video. Haven't seen her. She's probably hiding in some other office. They don't have signs on the offices here. You'll see a whole bunch of doors when you walk through this facility that don't have a sign. You have no idea what's on the other side of the door. You don't know the names of the people. You don't know the functions that are within that office. They're just, everything's hidden, and they don't have any forms to put anything in writing, and they don't have any email addresses for patients or families or attorneys to send them things in writing. You can mail something to them, but if you want to email them to just document that you've communicated with them, how am I supposed to go to the post office and send something requiring a signature confirmation when I don't even know the names of the people? They give nicknames. They order employees here to use nicknames. One day, a new nurse and a new CNA that had worked together before started working here, and I happened to walk out of my room to go to the hand sanitizer right outside my door there, just in time to hear the nurse say to the new CNA, the new nurse say to the new CNA, "My nickname is blah, blah, blah." And I had suspected that was the case, that the staff was told to use nicknames, because it was just bizarre how many people have the exact same name. Like, the osteopath, the physician assistant, and the night supervisor of nursing are all named Elizabeth. There's a bunch of Marias. That's not so odd. Maria is a pretty common name, but Elizabeth, it's not an uncommon name, but it's a little odd that the osteopath and the physician assistant and the supervisor of nursing are all, and then there's the Victoria that's the patient activities director, and the Victoria that's a social worker, Um, and it's just nobody wears their name tags in a way where you can easily read them. And the name, if they have a name on it, is in tiny little print that's hard to see. They've got the word Millbrae Care Center or Millbrae in great big letters, and then they'll have all kinds of pins and junk pinned or stickers on their ID badges. And so just trying to find where the name is, you know, when they see you looking at their ID badge, they tuck it inside their shirt or they put their hand over it. And they're required to identify themselves by law. Workers in a healthcare facility by law are required to wear identification and to identify themselves on demand, and they don't. So, why would that be? And why would the facility not discharge patients with their on-hand prescription medicines? Why would they claim that those are the property of the facility and they flat refuse to discharge the patient with them? Now they probably will, because they started giving me chemical restraints several months ago, and when they did that, I demanded to change pharmacy, and for 6.5 months, the physician assistant who does prescribing has refused to enable that. Oh, she'll claim that she's written the prescriptions. When I ask for the prescriptions that she claimed she put in my medical record file, everybody says they've got to talk to her. Well, and then I tell them, no, you don't have to talk to her. She wrote them for me. They're in there. You're supposed to give them to me. Oh, well, we have to talk to her. Oh, we'll have her come talk to you. She never comes and talks to me. I broke out in hives, I think it was 2 weeks ago. I asked for her to come see me because the medicine that, one of the chemical restraints that she gave me, made me break out in hives. She didn't come see me. And then she changed the instructions on the label of, I think it's the oxycodone, so it says in parentheses on the second to the last line of these cards with medicine that the pharmacy delivers, allergy okay, when that's the opposite of the reality. I don't know what drugs they're giving me, other than I've identified what they're extremely likely to be, given their adverse effects of, unconsciousness, dizziness, blurred vision, ringing ears, nausea, just long lists of different pills give me different symptoms, so they are giving me a variety of chemical restraints. It's not the same one. You never know when you take the tablet what it's going to be. And that's absolutely wrong. That's absolutely illegal. They require the patient consent to make any change to medicine. I've never given that consent. They had some nutcase hired contractor nurse practitioner come and talk to me after I started posting YouTube videos of staff physically abusing me. And he came and tried to tell me that I was imagining things, that what I thought was happening was not happening, and that they had medicines that would help me if I would let them. And I told him no, I am not taking anything that you would recommend. And so I flat out refused. And they're not allowed to just decide to give medicines to patients. It doesn't work that way. That's not what the law says. Unless there is an emergency, an immediate emergency situation, They cannot ever drug anybody against their will. And the kind of emergency situation where they'd be allowed to is extremely drastic. It's like if a patient is in immediate danger of hurting themselves or others. And then they're only allowed to drug the patient long enough to prevent that. They can't just keep on drugging the patient from then on. They have to have a plan. They have to discuss the plan with the patient. If the patient is not competent, they have to have a conservator agree to the plan, or they have to have a family member agree to it. But they can't just indefinitely drug somebody with chemical restraints. But that's what they're doing, because this facility does not obey the law whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. They do exactly as they please. They know they're breaking the law, and that's why they don't have any forms. They don't want any written documentation. That's why they don't use real names. That's why they hide their ID badges. That's why they refuse to identify themselves. They don't want accountability. They don't want to go to prison, which is where they're going to be headed ultimately. It's a matter of time, but they're doing everything to delay that. Right now, 15:46, and the hacker just stopped the video.